What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Tuesday edition of the Pandemic Update for Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. That's right, we still talk about COVID on this channel because COVID is still a pandemic, and we talk about other viruses as well that could be a threat to your health. And of course, we do talk about something else that really should be considered a pandemic of its own, or at least at the minimum, a public health emergency, and that is long COVID. Long COVID is still hitting people very hard, and it's a problem that is only going to continue to get worse because we allow this virus to continue to spread and we do nothing about it. If you learn anything in my videos, that's my goal here. I want to teach and inform. If you learn anything in my videos, give this a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I promise to help keep you safe and informed about what is going on. Alrighty, today we start off with a couple school announcements. You know what that means. Schools closing or going virtual because of illness outbreaks or COVID outbreaks. And it seems fitting that we talk about Oklahoma once again. You know, sometimes we get a state where we haven't talked about a state for a long time. That was Oklahoma. And then last week, into this week, suddenly we're talking about Oklahoma again and again and again. It's nothing wrong with Oklahoma, but your COVID situation, it's not going too good. And in this case, Mansville, Oklahoma, Mansville Public Schools is moving to distant learning, otherwise remote, virtual learning from home, for the rest of the week because of the number of staff members out with COVID. That's concerning coming from Oklahoma because we do know Oklahoma has one of the highest rates of long COVID. Hopefully, none of the teachers at this school go on to develop long COVID. Hopefully, they all recover. And maybe you can consider when you reopen the school making everyone wear a mask because, you know, it might help prevent this from happening in the future. Now we have to get on a plane and take a flight to Ohio, Dayton, Ohio. In Dayton, Ohio, a school cancels classes for a second day due to illness. Doesn't say the word COVID. It just says they are dealing with illness at the Immaculate Conception School, which was closed on Monday, and it is closed again today due to the amount of staff that were sick or absent, according to a social media post. And you know what that means. It's, again, masking would help solve the problem, but it's something no one wants to do because it makes them think about depressing times from a few years ago. Totally ridiculous. All right, moving on to this next story out of Colorado. Some good news. I'm not all doom and gloom. Here's some good news. Canine respiratory illness cases down across Colorado. CSU, which stands for Colorado State University, continues to investigate fall spike. So while cases have dropped, there's still a few cases, and they are investigating what has led to this wave in the first place. So that's something we will continue to watch. In New Brunswick, COVID-19 and the flu kill 6 more people. All right. Have you had COVID? Many people have. Do you notice that you have trouble sleeping afterwards? Well, turns out more than 3/4 of recovering COVID-19 patients left with insomnia, a study finds. That's quite a few people that are having trouble sleeping post-COVID. All right, in case you did not see it yesterday, this was the weekly BNO update. Just want to show you one thing here. New deaths were at 2,570 for COVID. Yeah, that's pretty bad. And plus, let's add on another 1,000 because there were 1,000 influenza deaths yesterday as well. Alrighty, let's take a look at today's air quality. That does it for the news portion of this update. We're going to take a look at air quality and a bunch of other data now. Take a look at Chicago. Some really poor air qualities for you today. You are into the hundreds. That's never a good thing. Taking a look at the West Coast, you can see not terrible on the West Coast. And of course, you know if you're down in Southern California, you just got inundated, flooded with very heavy rainfalls. In fact, I talked about that today. You know, I have another channel called Climate Data Report, where I talk about all things weather. We talked about that, and a big pattern change that is coming for the United States. You can see that. That's this video right here, which I did just about 20 minutes before this one, our pandemic update. And yeah, check that out. There'll be a link card down below to my other channel. All right, the national positivity rate this week from Walgreens is at 26.6%. It's a difference of down 0.7%. Testing also dropped. 25,767 tests this week versus 26,000 tests last week. 26,006 tests last week. All right, let's take a look at some of these states. We're just going to randomly go along here. Indiana, 27% positivity this week. Prior week was 24.7%. Difference of up 2.3%. Total tests, 326 versus 328. Tennessee, I'm seeing red. What's going on there? 22.5% positivity this week. The prior week was 19.7%. That's a difference of up 2.7%. Testing is also up, 561 versus 527. Pennsylvania, 25.7% positivity this week. The prior week was 26.3%. That's a difference of down 0.6%. Total test, 210 versus 232. So testing did drop as well. New York State, let's see what's going on there. 41.9% positivity this week, 42.4% last week. Difference of down 0.5%. That's with testing down as well. 810 versus 906. That is some really good news to see New York State dropping. How about South Carolina? South Carolina is at 27.2% this week. The prior week was 25.9%. Difference of up 1.2%. But there's a reason for it. Testing dropped. 788 tests versus 833. Let's go a little further out to the west now. Colorado positivity this week is 22.5%. The prior week was 20.7%. That's a difference of up 1.8%. And testing is down. 347 versus 377. And let's go to Utah now. 23.3% this week, 26.5% last week. That's a difference of down 3.2%. Total tests, 129 versus 151 tested for COVID. Let's take a look at Alaska. Can we? Let's see. No, we cannot look at Alaska. How about we try and click on Puerto Rico? Well, Puerto Rico, I can tell you right here, is coming up bright red at this time. And let's just go to the current view. That may help us see what's going on in Puerto Rico. There we go. 55.2% positivity rate for COVID in Puerto Rico. That, my friends, is not good. And you also see here that the positivity rate in Nevada is 42.9%. Las Vegas is in that state. And you know, the Super Bowl's in Las Vegas this weekend. That definitely will cause some cases of COVID. All right, taking a look here, we want to take a look at the national hospital bed capacity for the hospitals in the United States. And you can see here, currently across the United States, 77.9% of all hospital beds are being used. That's for inpatient beds. And ICU usage is at 73% at this time. All right, taking a look now at Biobot. There's something I have to show you here. It's not a good thing. While everything was fine, dandy, we were dropping. I mean, transmission was still really high. For much of January, it was dropping. We're starting off February on a bad note. Take a look at this. COVID transmission in wastewater. This is COVID detected in wastewater. On the national level, according to Biobot, this could get corrected, but for the moment, right now, they are showing that there is a rise once again. All I can do is take a deep breath because it's not a good thing. We're already in the second highest wave ever, and I mean, it was starting to drop. You can see here, it dropped below second highest wave ever, and now, look, it's starting to rise again. That's not a good thing. Hopefully, it's just a bump. Some modeling says it's just going to be a bump, and then we will drop again. We shall see. We're going to keep following it, and the biggest area for the rise at this time, yep, it's the northeastern U.S. All right, let's take a look at some more individual wastewater sites. Let's take a look in the northeast first. We're going to do a little, we'll just go randomly around the country. What's going on in Burlington, Vermont? Essex Junction. Let's see, I'm really curious. Essex Junction at this time, kind of flattened out, dropping a little bit for COVID. RSV is still high. COVID's still high as well. RSV is still high. It did try rising a little bit again. Influenza B is quickly going up. Yikes. That's not good. It's low, but it is rising. HMPV is low at this time. Norovirus is starting to rise a little bit. And no problems with Mpox at this time. Let's do some more wastewater sites. We'll do about 3 or 4 more around the country. What's going on in State College, Pennsylvania? We've been watching this one because not only because it's new, but it was rising. Look at this. Most recent update. Couple updates now suggest for COVID it's starting to drop. Remember, this is where Penn State University is, so we're getting a look, a feel of what's going on in a university setting. It says 16,000 served, but I don't know if that includes all the students that go to various different classes throughout the day. Honestly, I don't know, but this is University Park, so that's Penn State University. Respiratory, RSV, you can see here, it's trying to drop on the most recent update. We'll have to see if that holds. Both that and COVID still, though, are at high levels. Influenza B is rapidly rising at this time, though at low levels. Mpox is also low at this time. All right, let's go down to the south now. Let's go down to the Atlanta metro area, and let's take a look at Camp Creek. How about this? This is a portion of Atlanta, and in Camp Creek, COVID is still high. It's not really dropping. It's doing this up, down thing. RSV, yikes. RSV all of a sudden is starting to rapidly rise. This has a population of 73,821 people at this wastewater site. To see RSV rapidly rising like that, that's not good. Influenza B, take a look at this. High, and that's rising as well. RSV was high, by the way. Norovirus is high, and wow. Over 100,000 samples detected of, pathogens. Yikes, that's not good, and it's high, and it's starting to rise yet again. There was a detection of Mpox back in early December of last year. All right, let's continue on here. How about we come over to Alabama? Let's see what's going on in Alabama. Village Creek. This is in the Birmingham area. COVID's still high. It's not really dropping that much. I mean, it's dropping slightly, but not much. RSV is high and dropping. Influenza B is high, and look at that. It might be trying to rise again on the most recent update. There's some indications that norovirus is trying to rise again. It's already at high levels. And look at this. There was a detection of Mpox back in the beginning of last December of last year. So that's not good to see. Now let's go out to the west. How about we come up here to Idaho and we see what's going on? How about we go up to northern Idaho? Let's see what is going on here. Way up north in Idaho, we do see COVID is high, rising a little bit. RSV, flat, high. Influenza B is still high. Norovirus is high. And look at this. There was a detection of Mpox back in December, again, in northern Idaho. So that's really interesting. Just saw 3 sites in a row that had Mpox cases back in December of last year. How about we come now and see what's going on in St. Cloud, Minnesota? Let's take a look here. And in St. Cloud, Minnesota, we do see COVID levels have dropped somewhat. They're leveled off. They may be trying to rise again. It's still high levels. RSV is high and dropping. Influenza B is high and starting to rise again. Norovirus is high and rising. And yet again, another wastewater site. Interesting. They're all around the same time, too. So you have to really question the data at this point. But who knows? Maybe it was real. Mpox cases in St. Cloud, Minnesota, back in early December of last year. All right, continuing on now. Let's take a look at some other data, shall we? And in this case, we'll take a look at the latest variant that is dominating in the United States, and that is the JN.1 variant. As you can see right here, it is at 93.1%. All right, taking a look now at Philadelphia. You can see in Philadelphia there are 736 EMS incidents on Monday. Remember, you're probably wondering, if you're new to the channel, you're probably wondering, why is he showing Philadelphia? Why not anywhere else? Philadelphia is the only city I can find that gives a daily report on social media of how many EMS calls there are day after day. They stopped for a couple of weeks ago. We suspect the person who does the update was sick or something was wrong. But they're back to doing it, and it was 736 EMS incidents on Monday. A little higher than the day before, but it's not at the level of concern. This is one of the busiest fire departments in the country. Talking about really busy levels, that would be north of 800. That's where we start getting concerned. We can also take a look at the burbs out of Philadelphia. Again, we're not just trying to favoritize this area. There's no, I can't find any other CAD systems that are public around the United States. Montgomery County, not too busy right now. It is 5:16 in the evening. Couple respiratory emergency cases and a couple of cardiac emergency cases. How about Chester County? Now, Chester County is a bit busier, and I'm actually a little concerned with what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing not 1, not 2, but 3 sick person calls and a respiratory call. You have to wonder. You go back to that wastewater from Biobot, Northeast U.S., starting to rise. Sick calls, this is more than we've seen during the pandemic update in a few days. It's something we do take note of. It's concerning. Maybe respiratory illnesses are starting to go back up. We also note this, not one, not two, but 3 heart problem calls right now during today's update. So that's relatively interesting. New Jersey, thank goodness. 69 out of 70 hospitals reported once again. 119 discharges were reported yesterday. 36 people on a ventilator, and the total hospitalization number is 929. And in the ICU, we do note there are 90 people in the ICU at this time in New Jersey. And finally, we come over to the state of New York. 1,536 people tested positive for COVID in the last 24 hours, or on the most recent update, and taking a look at hospitalizations in New York State. 1,900. But you see something here. You're seeing yellow on the screen. You're probably going, what's that yellow? There's a reason why you're probably going like that. If you may recall, not too many months ago during the pandemic update, they did stop reporting on ICU numbers. And, well, look at that. This does look like they are starting to report on ICU numbers again. So it's 211. And I find this really interesting because I want to show you something here. As of 10-13-2023, this is last year, HERDS, H-E-R-D-S, no longer collects information of COVID patients admitted to the ICU while hospitalized. Historic COVID ICU totals are available. Wait a second. They no longer collect it? Take a look here. I'm going to zoom this out just a little bit. Hello? They were no longer collecting it, eh? All these yellows are ICU numbers. Well, somehow they just happen to have the ICU numbers. And now, look, we're looking at last year now. So when did they stop that? On the 13th? They stopped that right about here. But look, I continue. It shows ICU numbers. So someone was still keeping track of it in New York State. Let's zoom this back in. Today's ICU number in New York State is 211. Interesting. Why do they have to go and lie and say, oh, they stopped collecting? Yeah, no, they stopped reporting on it. But clearly someone still had the number because they were able to put the historical numbers here in the update. We'll see how long it changes, how long it lasts. I suspect it's going to change and disappear again, but who knows? Alrighty, guys, that does it for today's pandemic update. We'll have another pandemic update again tomorrow. If you enjoyed this update, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more updates like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you know anyone who wants to see these updates, by all means share this with them. And I do have one special favor for you today. Leave in the comments for me down below. Does my voice sound better? Do I sound like I'm out of breath less? I went and got my next injection of Exolar today, and I think it is helping with my breathing problems. You may recall before I started going on Exolar, it sounded like I was out of breath in these videos. I noticed it myself. I used to have to pause a lot. I don't pause as much anymore when I'm making these updates for you guys, which makes me happy. However, I still do have the coughing issue, which continues. Some weeks, it's fine. It's non-existent. This week, it's been back again. I don't know, but I do feel like my breathing's better. Do you feel like it sounds better? Let me know down below. I really do want to know. Alright, I'll see you guys all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Tuesday evening. Thanks for watching.